This is the Dzogchen Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For multiple decades, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. It is Qui-Gon Jinn early Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. Let us sidestep the bear trap of actively focusing upon either our upon either our chest or our breath. For doing so could so fatigue our medial prefrontal cortex that it triggers our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. Instead, let us emulate an enthusiastic piano student who is so enthralled with the score and the keyboard that they hold the sound of the metronome in merely passive peripheral awareness. As we passively notice air enter our nostrils, let us silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. Why would we do that? Because every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, we have evolved to access the middle bit of our spinal cord, which functions as the core of our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. All of them, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the convenient to the arduous, from the glorious to the grotesque. But what are we to do with all that stuff that we noticed? As we passively notice our chest subtly sink as gently we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the verb ease. Why would we do that? Because every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we have evolved to automatically access both the tippy top as well as the very bottom of that same spinal cord. These two regions, working as a team, function as the core of our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to cause us to physically relax during our exhalation to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. When I was in 4th grade, I had the very good fortune to be taught that a simile is only as effective as it is relatable. Therefore, we must ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the hand? Why do we play with the words this and ease in harmony with our breathing? Is it to coerce our autonomic nervous system to notice and relax? No. No coercement is necessary. It is already wired to do that. Why then do we play with the words this and ease in harmony with our breathing? To remind our will, our intention, our volition to take a relaxing break from our exhausting habit of actively competing against our own autonomic nervous system and instead cooperate with it. So let us sit as sustainably as we can. The moment you have a specific question about the philosophies or techniques that support meditation, type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 13 minutes or so. So this right here is the core of our practice. To keep track of our first set of 12 inhalations, let us use the tip of our left middle finger to support the lower knuckle of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. We shall use our right hand to keep track of the next 12 inhalations. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, let us advance our right thumb, beginning with the lower set of creases on our right little finger and concluding with the higher set of creases on our right index finger. Let us practice together right now. Counting 12 inhalations takes approximately 1 minute. Therefore, if we wish to meditate for an additional 12 minutes, we should count an additional 12 sets of 12 inhalations each. To keep track of our next set, let us turn our attention to our left hand and touch the tip of our left thumb to the lower set of creases of our left little finger, and then return our attention to our right hand. Having counted another 12 inhalations, return our attention to our left hand and advance our thumb to the next set of creases. Now that you get the basic idea of how we can count to 12 sets, 12 inhalations each, let us rest our hands palms up in our lap. I'm sure you'll find that much more comfortable. To keep track of our next set of our to keep track of our second collection of 13 sets of 12 inhalations each, we turn our attention to our left middle finger supporting our right middle finger and slide the tip of that left middle finger up until it comes to rest upon the second knuckle or the middle knuckle of our right middle finger. And then we return our hands to our lap. to begin collecting, to begin gathering our third collection of 13 sets of 12 inhalations each, let us return our attention to our left middle finger supporting our right, and drag the tip of our left middle finger up our right middle finger until it comes to the third knuckle. Let us turn our attention now to our right hand, and let us advance our right thumb during each inhalation. During each inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. During each exhalation, we silently and mentally recite the verb is, as we notice and relax. Counting 12 inhalations can take approximately 13 to 16 minutes. I take that back. Counting 12 inhalations takes approximately 1 minute, maybe a little more. So what we could do is use our left hand to count sets of 12 inhalations each. Let's touch the tip of our left thumb to the lower set of creases of our left little finger, and then return our attention to our right hand. So, having counted another 12 inhalations, we advance our left thumb, and now you get the basic idea of how we can count multiple sets of 12 inhalations each. So let's place our hands palms up in our lap. What if enlightenment was nothing more than mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path? But what could we mean by mastery? When we've mastered a skill, we tend to practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. As children, we mastered using the commode instead of our diapers, brushing our teeth, tying our shoes, riding a bike, in addition to reading, writing, and arithmetic. The seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path are simply mindfulness and meditation. The more we sit and breathe and notice and relax, the more we cannot help but notice that things are not as graspable as they seem. And that's the first fold, right view. The more we sit and breathe and notice and relax, the more we cannot help but calm our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression, as well as gently stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the seat of empathy. Consequently, the more we sit and breathe and watch and notice and relax, the more we cannot help but practice kind intention, kind communication, kind conduct, and kind commerce. The second, third, fourth, and fifth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Consequently, now you might ask, and rightfully so, hey man, feeling empathy is great, but how are we going to know what the kind thing is? What the kind thing is to do, and when to do it, and how to do it. And that brings us to the sixth fold of the path. The more that we sit and breathe and notice and relax, the more our choices and utterances and deeds flow, not from contrived calculations, nor from wild scatterness, but instead from love's deeply centered spontaneity, which is known by many names, such as right effort, or effortless effort, or doing without doing, or wu wei, or going with the flow, or being in the zone, or expedient means. There's another one that'll come to me later. And so we see that sitting and breathing and noticing and relaxing is the dynamo that drives effortless enlightenment. Enlightenment doesn't mean we stop feeling certain things, because that would be forsaking mindfulness. Enlightenment is simply mastering the tools with which we cope with the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Having sat for the better part of an hour, by the way, perhaps that is why the Buddha taught that one could master his path in as little as 7 days. Having sat for the better part of an hour, we might find it refreshing to knock out 7 senior citizen squat thrusts. This is as optional as it is beneficial. Woof. Okay, here we go. Woof. Okay. Grunting like the aging Jew I am. All right. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers just like you. In approximately 10 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's dusk practice of Meditate Like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.